All right, it's 5 o'clock. We're going to call this meeting to order of February 1, 2021. And our first thing is the agenda approval.
Move to adopt. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? So the agenda is approved. Next, we got the old business, which is the adopt the applicants' presentations. We're going to have to wait until, how you want to do this? We got to go in closed session?
Open session.
Open session, and Ms. Jones is outside, she can come in, and then Ms. Moore is in waiting.
Okay, so Ms. Jones is coming in. We're going to talk to her in open session right now.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Goldsboro City Council, City Manager, Attorney, and interview members. Thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to stand here this evening to interview for the vacant City Council seat, District 1. My presentation will have brief information regarding myself, a background, community and organizations, my district goals with closing remarks. I will try very hard not to talk about anything that you've already read in the application. I do not want to be redundant. I was born in Mount Olive to parents who would be considered today as essential workers. My daddy was a truck driver. He worked in the logwoods, and my mother was a small business owner. I attended, as a matter of fact, I graduated from an all-black high school, and I lived in a segregated environment up until 1970, until I went to Mount Olive College. I worked to help my parents send me to school. I packed pickles at Mount Olive. I left Mount Olive after graduating because I felt that there were not any jobs available for me. Like a lot of young people do, they leave. But unfortunately, I had to return because of the illness of my aging parents. And I felt that I needed to come to take care of them because they took care of me. After returning home, I worked at O'Berry Center. And at O'Berry Center, I learned so much. I was an educational specialist. I learned about mental illness, mental retardation, and I also learned about the needs and the benefits of the employees there. Thus, I joined Scenic. And Scenic opened a whole new avenue for me. I learned the four most important things in the community. Oh my goodness, I am sorry. Please forgive me. I thought I had it turned off. I learned the four most important things for quality of life, which is pay, good education, good health, and pension. And so I became a grassroots lobbyist. And many of people in the city today are receiving a $15 minimum wage because of lobbyists like me. Not only do I continue to lobby for those things, I also am working with the state treasurer on clear pricing, and I am working with DHHS on developing better relationships between inmates and correctional officers, because that seems to be a problem. But now, having served on several advisory boards and board of governors, it's afforded me the opportunity to work and negotiate with all people in all backgrounds with different interests. My district is a unique and rich district. Some areas in my district are financially challenged and some are not. And the role of the city council is not to just sit in the office, but to get involved and to walk around the community and talk with individuals and understand their concerns. I'm aware of the poverty needs in the city, and our goal as city council should be able to address every individual's worth and every individual's need and not to leave anyone out and to be a voice for them. As I worked on Meals on Wheels, it gave me the opportunity to talk to every elderly and every senior citizen in Goldsboro because we had different routes. So that was really good because I do share services and interests with 2 districts here. I'm invested in this community, and I have gained tremendous understanding of my community, with working food distribution for our community, working with Laundry for Love, which is an awesome organization. You know, sometimes we take things so for granted. We can go and wash our clothes right at our house, but there are many people in this area, after they pay their essential bills, they can't do that. And that's what this organization does, and I really enjoy being a part of it. As far as my goals, my desire is to enhance public safety for the neighborhoods and communities and to provide additional service and support for growing population of the elderly, and work toward helping unity on this city council. I will say to you, my promise is that I will respect each and every one of you here on this council. I will negotiate, compromise, and work on unity. And let me explain something briefly about unity. Unity is being together. Unity is not saying yes to everything, but challenging and working through strategies to get the best possible outcome for our city. Thank you very much. I would like to make this one Goldsboro, one future.
While you're there, does anybody have any questions?
I have one question.
Go ahead.
It was
I
actually,
have a couple.
why don't we just go around?
In looking at your past service and involvement in Goldsboro, you know, what did you find, which of these things, which you've done a lot, would you say was the most fulfilling for you personally?
Well, you know, at first, I thought it was food distribution. But in the community, not statewide, in the community, it was laundry. Because so many children and adults spoke to me when I was helping them wash clothes. They said, you know, I make my children come home and change their clothes because I don't want them to get dirty. Because after I pay my essential bills, I don't have time to wash their clothes. And so I holler at them if they get dirty because I want them to have clean clothes. So that has been fulfilling.
Now, is that the one that's done at the wash house?
Yes,
I've seen it in operation, so it is
I do
nice.
enjoy that.
Second thing, and this is sort of just from my personal knowledge, what was your maiden name in Mount Olive?
Jones. I was a Jones and I married a Jones.
All right, because my dad at that time, whenever you were growing up, owned the supermarket in Mount Olive,
Oh, which supermarket was that?
down below Carver.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right.
Well, our grocery store was a small, black-owned store called Jones Grocery, and it was right there on Hickory Nut Hill on James Street.
I know where Hickory Nut Hill is.
Can I address the council for a second? Excuse me, Ms. Jones. Can we just kind of go around the room with questions, just to kind of, is everybody okay with that? We just go around. If anybody has questions, do it that way instead of kind of like popcorning it. Would that be okay?
Go ahead.
No fine.
Okay. Hey, Ms. Jones, good evening.
Hi.
I noticed in your application when the question was, why are you interested in serving on the Goldsboro City Council? One of your desires was to promote and increase engagement of residents in decisions made by council, and that one stuck out to me because that's something that's very important to me. So my question is, what have you thus far done, and what issues have you already promoted and engaged the community, if any? And then if not, what is your strategy to keep residents engaged on what we have going on council?
Well, you saying keeping residents engaged or doing things for people in the community?
Well, you said promotes and increase engagement of residents, so I'm specifically asking about your participation in engagement and promoting of our decisions from District 1 so far.
Yes, okay. Well, I love to sing, and I have helped in community, helping at the community center, engaging the elderly. They love to sing, and they love those old hymns. So I've been involved with that. I do. That's one thing that I do like. But I think that there are a lot of things that we can engage the elderly in simply because when I'm talking to people on Meals on Wheels, they like to get out and they like to have a lot of things to do. Another thing that I have helped with is the elderly like to crochet and they like to make jewelry. So I've been a part of that.
Okay. So is there one decision that we've made on the council that you have worked to provide some engagement and awareness to to the residents in District 1?
I have basically respected what you guys have decided, and if I am selected, I would like to be a part to help. So that's what that statement meant.
Thank you.
Okay, I just have a question. I hear you speak of the elderly, and they're slowly fading away, and we need to look toward our youth, and that's what my objective is growth towards housing by way of ownership. What are your thoughts as far as working and collaborating with different districts that may have housing issues and development inside of Goldsboro? What are your feelings on development of growth?
Well, I think that we need a strategy for helping. There's so many elderlies. When I talk to some, there are elderly people that their houses need work, even from the hurricane. They don't want to leave. They have children in other states, but they don't want to leave their house.
Right.
They want to stay there. And so because they want to stay there, they will stay there in any condition.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that we need to take a look at that and come up with strategies on best issues to provide and to help them.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Ms. Jones, I just have one question, and it's a question that we'll try to ask all of our candidates, and it's kind of a broad question, but if you're sitting on this council and you have to make a decision that's obviously in the best interest of the city, for any number of reasons, but it's in the best interest of the city, could you make that positive decision or say yes when you know that some of your friends and supporters are going to vehemently be against it?
Well, as you find that I work on, while I am a team member, I am very independent, and in my application, I told you that I will vote on things that will help the city and my constituents.
Good answer. Thank you, ma'am.
First of all, thank you for applying for the vacant seat. I do have a question. During the past 5 years, our city council has been plagued by divestments, dysfunction, and conflict. Although that situation has improved some over the past year, there is still much room for improvement. To improve as a cohesive organization that will work for the betterment of Goldsboro. Now, you've touched on this a little bit, but my question is, are you aware of the situation I just explained? and described? And if so, what will you do to help us move towards a more productive council?
Yes, I am aware, and I realize that it has gotten a little better. Sitting on the outside, I would like to see more unity, more togetherness, more respect for one another and the issues that are at hand. You may not agree with things, but you can be very diplomatic about it. If there's something that you don't agree with, then let's have an additional meeting. Let's have a talk. Let's come up with some strategies to help us along. Our image is very, very important. And we have not only the city of Goldsboro watching us, we got many cities, many states watching us. So we have to be very careful how we project ourselves. We don't always have to say yes to everything. And as I see this council, I realize that there's not, quote unquote, a yes person up here. But you still have to handle yourself in a very professional and diplomatic manner.
All right, anybody else got any questions? All right, so now what's gonna happen?
So I'll bring in.
She's
Ms.
gonna
Moore
leave and
after
the
this.
next person's coming.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna interview them. And when will she know anything?
What's that?
When will she know anything?
Well, you all can vote at any time, but you previously established that at the next council meeting,
The
you'll
15th.
entertain who you would vote for, and there's a process for that that Ron has designed. So you have basically 2 weeks to hear from your constituents on this issue.
So are we gonna
Did I answer your
Are
question?
we voting on the 15th? That's what I'm.
Yes, that's what we have
That's what I was asking.
designed right now.
Everybody go with that?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for what you did
Thank
for
you,
our
Ms.
city.
Jones.
Even-
How's everyone doing on this rainbow day?
Hi,
Very
thank
good,
you.
thank you.
Good, I hope. I'm going to ask council to bear with me a little bit because I need my glasses to see far, but I don't need them to see close. So if you see me taking my glasses on and off, that is the reason why. Do you mind if I move this? Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Hope everyone, as I said, is doing well. I know I'm only here a short time to be before you this evening. I would like to begin by saying I am a person who is passionate about her community. I have a great sense of humor, and I can literally get along with anyone. These are qualities I believe can add to the success of this council, and I feel I am the right choice to move District 1 forward. District 1 is a remarkably diverse district with many different constituents, each with their own unique needs. And I am hoping, if selected, to ensure that the economic vitality of District 1 remains a priority. As stated in my application, if selected, I want to be an advocate for my community at the grassroots level of democracy. I think we can all agree over the past few weeks, we see just how precious our democracy is and what we must do to protect it. I will be the type of council member that is a liaison for equity. Part of the City of Goldsboro's mission statement states that we will promote equality, and I would like to ensure the equality we are creating is equitable for my district. Because parts of District 1 suffers from high poverty, and the high poverty at times can put us at a disadvantage. And when it does, it can make it less attracting for people to come in and do things like you might see in a District 6, 5, or 2. We must lead with inclusion. I will be at this table to represent all voices, those who may agree with me and even those who do not. But it is vital that all voices are represented here. Inclusion is how we learn to better serve our community, and as we can see, communities are becoming more and more diverse every day. I would like to assist this council in preparing for our changing communities, because this is how we will grow as a city, and this is how we will succeed as a council. I'm a strong believer that communities are stronger the more they can have access to connect with their local leaders, and vice versa. In talking with my District 1 community, this was one of the things we appreciated about our former councilman. I believe one of the reasons why he was elected twice was his ability to engage with his community. This is something I would like to maintain with my community. I hope to work with council to get beyond the term economic development and move towards economic development, especially in District 1. District 1 has not had any major development for years, and I would like to be an advocate for that to change. The past 2 storms have caused us to have a depletion in our attainable housing stock. I would like to see a community center one day located in District 1, more sidewalks so we can promote a walking community. I know former Councilmember Williams, myself, and the late Ms. Jacobs was working with Assistant Manager Mr. Guthrie on having more greenways in our community. I would like to revisit this if I am a part of this council. I would like to share with my council some of my ideas to get more business development in District 1 that expands beyond downtown. I have gone with my former councilman to visit residents of the North End community, because that's the community he grew up in. And it was an eye-opener to hear all the wonderful stories and see, hear about how it was such a close-knit community. I think with council's help, combined with my experience from sitting on the board of Second Act Community, which is a board that helps communities build needed housing, this would be a good area in District 1 to start to rebuild. I remember Councilmember Broadway, during the last election, you thought it would be a good idea to start working on the North End. So you see, we already agree on something. I have discovered from walking the different parts of my community that Little Washington area also needs some attention. Data has shown us that poverty, lack of education, crime go hand in hand. We have an extremely high poverty and homicide rate within our city. We especially know this affects District 1. And there is a school to prison pipeline right here in Goldsboro. Safer cities do not build jails. Safer cities create solutions to stop homicides and create measures that results in positive outcomes, and this is something I would like to help the council achieve. I have been studying what other cities like us have been doing to address this with a record of success, and after speaking with other elected officials in different cities and states, I have developed some creative ideas that I think would be helpful in our city through city grants and collaborations on the private sector. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, sounds ambitious, unrealistic, but remember, I'm a visionary, and I believe in yielding results. And remember, I attend meetings, so I fully understand right now financially we must curb our spending, and we need to create ways to grow our economy back. How do we start achieving this? I have some suggestions for that. With a solid financial pathway forward and level goals, this will give us the momentum we need to move forward. But it is going to be important for everyone to be on the same page. Once our audit is complete and we have our bond rating back along with our housing funds, these are things that will allow us to start borrowing again and qualifying for grants. But in the meantime, we can revisit a suggestion that was made by Councilman Ham and former Councilman Williams. And what that was is to review our 2013 comprehensive plan. And that plan actually shows you the set goals for the city, and it also details, the districts and what the goals are. I think that would be really good to get back to that. And since we already have this, we can adjust where we need to and to fit our current situation, and then we can move to taking real action to implement some of those things. We have all this knowledge within this room. And I say this all the time. All of you all have such a uniqueness, from education to financial background, corporate background, construction background. We have talent. We have great people working for the city of Goldsboro. It's about time we start maximizing these assets by bringing everyone to the table to figure this out. And I would like to be a part of helping council to do that. My education, employment history, and experience as an entrepreneur, I believe makes me a great fit to fill the vacant seat on the council. As you can see on my application, some of the skills I have acquired would fit well with the responsibilities of being a council member. I have been a part of boards where we use Robert's Rules of Order, which is what you guys use here. I have strong communication skills. I'm comfortable with reading, researching, analyzing documents and budgets. I do this as a business owner. Time commitment, I'm sure all of you can attest to that it is a lot more to being a council member than just being here on the first and third. My commitment to staying active in my local government is reflected in my attendance at council retreats, state of the community meetings, and my stellar attendance at council meetings. In the past 5 years, I think I've only missed 2. And I do watch from online. My participation in the Goldsboro School of Government course, which is what I would like to work at council to bring this course back because it was so informative. It had given me a deeper insight on how each department within the city of Goldsboro functions and how it helps to, see how the city operates. I am ready to lead District 1 because I have already been a servant to District 1 and the community of Goldsboro. When the city has faced tough, unpopular issues, I am the only candidate that has had the courage to come before this council to express the concerns of my community while also offering solutions. When District 1 was faced with having a junkyard placed in this area, I helped organize efforts based off the community's concerns, which brought District 1 citizens together to speak out against this from happening. And thank you, council, you listened. I'm a member of the Paramount Theater Outreach Committee, which was developed to bring more diverse entertainment to Goldsboro. And I think we all can agree diversity is the future. I have helped my community through 2 storms, Matthew and Florence, and I have worked alongside city management to get relief to citizens. I've assisted with District 1 community cleanup efforts, help young people tap into their passions and create careers. And, this is something that we do through my business, through our mentoring. I have helped families and seniors connect with COVID-19 supplies and resources, and I'm currently working with the team to address the community concerns and COVID-19 vaccination. There's a lot of myths and a lot of people just don't know which way to go. As you may know, underserved communities such as my District 1 community and the minority population are suffering even more in this pandemic. We also know families and small businesses are going to need help getting through this pandemic, and if chosen, I would like to do my part to assist council with these efforts. Having the ability to work alongside my former councilman for the past 5 years has been both knowledgeable, rewarding, and has given me great insight and experience to a lot of the things happening at the city level, state level, and even national level. I've had the opportunity to attend the North Carolina League of Municipality conferences, the National League of Cities, NCBMO, and when you go to these conferences, you learn about cutting-edge things that are moving cities forward, new ways of getting things done, and policies that might affect how a city conducts business. I learned how, it is to have a community working with you while also working with your fellow council members. I have learned that a council member is not a one-man show, but a team effort. I have learned firsthand that being a council member is time-consuming and
Your 10 minutes is up.
okay, I'm almost at my end. If you may give me just one more, I appreciate that, sir. Thank you. And sorry about that. I've learned how important it is to have our community working well, also working with your fellow council member. I've learned that being a council member is not a one-man show, as I said, but it is a team effort. And you have to give of yourself. You have to be so unselfish with your time to be a council member, and I've done that. I've learned from watching this council that personal agendas should be left at the door, and decisions should always be based on what is best for the people. This firsthand experience, I believe, separates me from other candidates. As a council, you have a lot of work that needs to be done, and with so many things facing our city right now, the next few years and having the right leadership at the deciding table is crucial, especially for my community. We must all do what we can to restore hope and joy back to the city of Goldsboro. I want to be a part of helping this council prepare for the future while learning from our past. As council members, you are now tasked with a very important decision for District 1 residents. If you believe we should have the best advocate, if you believe with everything facing the city right now, having a person who can come in ready to work on day one, if you believe the person should have a track record of commitment, leaderships that yields results, integrity, knowledge of what our council is currently facing, then, and knows how to compromise, but also knows how to be honest with their fellow councilmen, then I believe that someone is me. And I believe that I embody all those qualities I talk about and more. I want to thank you all again for your patience. I want to thank you for your consideration. And if chosen, I really do look forward to working with each and every one of you. Do you have any questions?
Anybody have any, we'll do it the same way. Gene, you got any questions?
I think she covered
Excuse me.
You got
everything that I was going to have questions about.
Councilor Williams?
Ms. Moore, good evening. So I was looking through your application, and you said it again tonight about your near-perfect attendance, and in 5 years, only missing about 2 meetings. I think that's pretty impressive, but why do you feel that that was so necessary for you to be present, and in what ways can you engage other District 1 residents to show up for council meetings?
Well, I think that's something that has come from my upbringing. Between my grandmother, my grandfather was in politics, but we always believe that it is important for each citizen to do their part. I never wanted to hear third or secondhand information. That's why I showed up to council meetings, because I wanted to fully understand what my city was facing and what I could do to help. And sometimes there are citizens who can't make it to meetings, so I take the information that I learned from meetings, and I go back into my community to help them understand that, hey, you know, we might have some road closings coming up. Hey, you know, this is going to be happening. Hey, we have these resources and services. You should take advantage of them. So it is important to be present and to be involved.
Thank you.
I just wanted to piggyback off of what Councilman Matthews said as far as consistency. As I campaigned, I looked at a lot of my opponents as well as some of the other individuals vying for a position on the council, and not a one of them did I ever see at a meeting. So I think that's very important.
It is.
Visibility and consistency. So
Absolutely.
that's a point that I check off. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Councilman Broadway?
Yes, I have one more. Ask you the same question I asked Ms. Jones.
Okay, no problem.
And the question is, if at some point in time, and you were on the council, you had to make a decision that is obviously in the best interest of the city, for any number of reasons, but it's in the best, could you make that decision, win, lose, or draw, knowing that the outcome would be vehemently hated by your friends and supporters?
That's a really good question. And I say to you, absolutely, because at this table, it is not about friendships. It is not about personal agendas. It is about what is best for people. And so communication solves a number of conflicts. Most conflicts happen because there's a miscommunication. So I do this within my company now. Usually I am labeled the enforcer. So absolutely, there's not a doubt in my mind. Again, this is not about friendships. This is about what's best for the people.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I have a question. First of all, thank you for applying and coming here. This is a similar question to what I asked Ms. Jones. During the past 5 years, our council has been plagued by divisiveness, dysfunction, and conflict. That situation has improved somewhat. However, during those 5 years, you have appeared before this council many times, as you mentioned, and posted videos on social media to reprimand us, make allegations of racial prejudice, and accuse individual members of this council of illegal actions, none of which were substantiated. If selected to fill the vacant District 1 seat, what will you do to make us a more productive council?
Well, first, let me clarify something for you. I don't think you'll ever find a video of me saying anything that is divisive or causes confusion. As I said, I am huge on communication. I know how to handle things in a mature and adult way. I know how to go to someone and say, hey, let's sit down and have a conversation. So I'm not sure where, again, I know for a fact that that is not accurate. But in terms of conflict that has happened on the council, as I kind of ended with Councilman Broadway saying, communication. You know, I've witnessed it and I see it. And one of the things that I think has been frustrating for me as a citizen, and forgive me for saying this, I think some of it has to do with male egos, that we have to do better at communicating. A lot of what happened could have been solved with communication, but sometimes with communication, we have to learn forgiveness, and we also have to learn how to clean our slates and start fresh for the sake of the people. And I think sometimes people haven't been able to do that. They just keep going and going and going and going, and sometimes you have to let it go. I think, you know, if you see what happened at our Capitol, that's part of what drives that, is people just won't let it go. And I judge you and base you on something from, you know, a time ago, instead of saying, hey, what can we do? I knew that happened, but what can we do now to make this better? So many of us in the community of Goldsboro are depending on you guys. We're depending on you guys to come in here with a clear heart and a clear mind and get it right for us. We, as I said, we are headed into some uncharted times. We don't know what is going to be around the corner when it comes to this pandemic. So, you know, coming into work and be committed to the council and learning to forgive and listen and communicate, I think will help you to solve a lot of divisiveness that you may have. Thank you for your question.
All right, anything else? All right,
Mary
well,
Ellen, no questions?
one more.
All right. Well, thank you
Thank
for
you
your
for
patience,
coming.
and again, have a
On the-
wonderful evening.
They'll be
Thank you
back to
very
you
much.
on the 15th.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Good night.
Thank you.
So I have a comment. We stated that the February 15th meeting, if we had enough information and we felt like we were ready to make a decision on this, we would. I just wanted to clarify that. And Councilmember Ham, you just made some accusatory comments, and I would like for you to produce those evidence of those comments, because I would like to consider that in making a decision to be prepared for the 15th. So if you could please get me that information that you speak of, I would appreciate it.
I'll take that under advisement.
All right,
Did you say you were going to provide that for me?
No, I said I would take that under advisement.
Well, I think all of us should see it. I mean, I think, those were some pretty strong claims there, and I need to consider that when making a selection, so thank you.
all right, so now we're gonna move on to item B, new business, boards and commissions.
Yes, Council. I have a couple of things I'd like to, one, to clarify, and then two, just kind of share with you guys. One is confirming Chris Boyette's term. At the City Council meeting on the 16th, we discussed the appointments of the Planning Commission, and staff had recommended extending the term for Chris Boyette to keep an experienced member on the board for an additional term. And at the December 7th meeting, because you guys waited to hear the recommendation from the Planning Commission. And then at the December 7th council meeting, the city clerk or myself shared that the Planning Commission had met and made a recommendation to appoint or reappoint Chris Boyette for a term of 3 years. But I guess where the confusion came in was, when we discussed it originally, Councilmember Aycock said he was good with another year. So we just want to make sure that we have his term listed correctly. And, we're just asking for clarification on that point.
So I have a question. My recommendation, she's still on that commission?
Yes.
Okay,
Miss-
that's all.
Miss
Ms.
Rojas,
Rojas.
and she
Thank you.
was sworn in at the last meeting.
Man, okay, awesome, thank you.
I think it'd be unfair for the rest of the members of the planning commission to have it run more than 1 year. That's my own personal feelings.
You talking about for
Wasn't he, the old thing when they were appointed for 3 or 4 years at a time?
Originally, before terms were amended and all terms were moved to 3 years, planning commission members used to serve 5 years. But then council amended the terms to kind of bring everything into a 3-year term for everyone.
But did he not have 2 or 3 more years left on his
No.
5-year term? I'm just asking the question.
On the 5-year term, yes, sir.
Yeah.
He did, did he not?
Yes.
But we agreed as a council, like Councilmember Aycock said, that we were only going to extend it for 1 year. And I think that that is fair. Well, I mean, I wasn't in support of that, but I'm willing to say a year to extend it to have that experience on the board. But I think anything other than that, I don't think it's fair either.
So we're actually taking away 2 years of eligibility from Mr. Boyette. That's what the bottom line is, right?
I thought his term
Well, no, because you're not taking it away because he
His term
wasn't
did expire.
eligible
He's
to.
talking about
serve
originally
again anyway.
when they served 5 years. His term was amended when we went to 3 years, which him
how long has he
and others
served?
who were on other boards and commissions as well, terms were kind of amended so people would have staggered terms.
Well, I'm not going to fight either way, but I hate to see us just, if the man wants to serve, take that time.
And it could be something that you consider the next time around.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but
But we just wanted to clarify what the term was that you guys agreed on.
So the mayor asked, how long has he served already?
I'd have to go back and pull that information. I don't have it with me
But
at the
wouldn't
moment.
I mean, if his time's up, wouldn't it be 2 terms?
So it would have been at least 6 years.
So you think he's been there that long?
If I need a motion, I'll make a motion, we extend Chris West's term as on the planning commission to 1 year.
Is it West?
Is it West or
The Boyette?
Barrett? Boy,
Chris
Boy, yeah,
Boyette.
boy, yeah, I don't know where I got that word from.
Right now, we got a motion from Mr. Aycock.
I'll second that.
We got a second. Any discussion?
But didn't we already do this?
No, we
Yeah,
never.
There
already-
was some confusion.
As whether it was
The
one or
paperwork
three.
said 1 year, but then it was mentioned by the committee or the commission that they would like him to be there for 3 years for continuity.
Okay,
That question was asked, and there was really no action on that. So
okay,
we're trying to clarify, what do you want to do?
okay,
Extend him for 1 year or 3 years?
okay.
So what do you want to do?
So the quick, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm good. I was just wondering, I thought we already did this, but
So we would be
Okay.
reconfirming.
I'm clear,
Whether
okay.
it's 1 or 3 years, and we have a motion for 1 year.
For 1 year.
Does anybody second that?
Ham.
Councilman Ham,
So the question I have, the stipulation is it's running year to year as of now per your motion, and it'll be revisited next year, correct? Okay.
I don't think.
Yeah, but next year it'll be for 3 years.
Well, I guess,
You would,
no,
you could just extend
you could
his
extend
term.
it year.
Oh,
Per
his
year,
is one.
annually,
Right.
right. So that's what I'm wanting to clarify, that right now it's just per year. Okay, thank you.
But wait,
I don't
so
have
that
any
means
problem
that he can,
with
so that means every year, this guy can come, because we only extended it a year
As a courtesy.
with the understanding that he was the only experienced member.
Right.
So I think we need to put a little bit more restriction on this, and I don't think we should extend it every year. We just had that understanding just to give the board some experience.
Right, you put an amendment to the motion.
Okay. You want me?
That is 1 year only, with no chance of being reappointed within the next 3 years.
They only have to sit off for a year before they could
So we're
technically.
good with that.
We're good.
You're good with that, the way you proposed it? Am I correct?
Yes, with
Okay.
1 year.
With 1 year, so what you
Right.
have on the floor
Off of any
is good.
board before
Ms.
they
Hancock.
could reapply.
Without an amendment, I think we're good.
Minus the, so there's no extension, they would have to reapply.
Yes.
I just-
Correct.
Okay, that
Yeah.
needs to be outlined, okay.
Y'all good on whatever
I'm
y'all
all for
saying?
that, yeah.
I guess- I think I'm.
Tim, are you good, you and Ron good on it, or Melissa? I was trying to find out from Tim or Ron.
So to be clear, it's a 1-year extension, and then he would have to be off the board for a year, and then he could reapply.
I don't know
Is
about
that
being
what I
off the
heard?
board, I never
Yep.
heard
Yeah,
that.
you'd have to reapply.
Okay?
Well, that's not exactly
That
what
was,
was
that
said.
was a motion by Councilmember Aycock. Do we have a second on that?
Yeah, David,
Yeah,
Okay?
but that wasn't his motion.
What it said.
Right, it was an amended motion, so,
I second it.
okay?
Are you good with the motion? Mm-hmm. Okay, you're good with the second. All right, any more discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, our right hand. Opposed, likewise. All right, it passes 5-1.
Okay, and one more thing. The Tourism Council had a member to resign on Wednesday, January the 27th. You have 2 current applications for the hotelier position in your folders. The Tourism Board recommends the appointment of Tyrone Barrett. They felt that he would bring a great hotelier perspective to the board as he's running the newest hotel in town, and the hotel type is different than the mainstream hotels. If you guys want to talk about, or if you just want to wait and talk about it at the next meeting to give you time to look over the 2 applications that we have, you just let us know how you guys would like to proceed, and then we can bring back a resolution for appointment.
Melissa, I have a question. When you say current applications, are you just, how are you measuring current?
We only keep applications on file for 1 year.
Okay, okay.
So we had that thing somewhere between now And a year ago, is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Does anybody want to make a motion?
I haven't had time to review them, but,
You said what, I'm sorry?
I said I haven't had much time to review either applicant, but I'll trust the board on the decision that they make.
Let's wait till the next meeting, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I'm fine. Well, so we'll wait till the next meeting on that, okay?
That sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, are we done with the planning commission
Yes,
and
sir.
your commissions and stuff? All right. I guess we don't really have a whole lot more to do.
Consent agenda item, we have Jennifer standing by.
And I have a closed session on
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you gonna do first?
Good evening.
Good.
Item B on the consent agenda is CU 1020 Jamie Deering. The property is located on the west side of North Center Street between West Oak Street and West Ash Street. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to operate an automobile repair, service, and inspection facility in the Central Business District. Surrounding zoning to the north, you have general business. To the south and east, you have Central Business District, and to the west, Central Business District and general business. The existing building and lot was formerly operated as a used car business and service center known as J.D. Pike Motor Company. The site has been closed for more than 6 months, and the owner is in the process of selling the property. On February the 3rd of 2020, City Council denied the property owner's request to rezone the property from Central Business District to general business. That proposed zoning was inconsistent with the city's comprehensive land use plan, which recommends multi-use downtown development for the property. Now the applicant is proposing to operate an automobile repair, service, and inspection facility upon the subject property. According to the city's Unified Development Ordinance, the proposed use is permitted because the property is located on the north side of Ash Street within the Central Business District. However, a conditional use permit is required and must be approved by City Council. Hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. with 5 employees. The existing building consists of approximately 10,120 square feet of floor space consisting of offices, a service bay, storage, warehouse space, and restrooms for the customers and employees. Since the site was developed prior to the adoption of the city's UDO, the building setbacks do not comply with the current regulations. A modification is required for the side yard setback from 15 feet to 0, and also required for the rear yard setback from 20 to 0.
Jennifer, let me interrupt you. Is that because there's no land there to do it, or is that because we're just being nice?
It's just, no, it's prior to, there's no land. The building is existing, so it's basically sitting on the property lines.
Okay.
A total of 6 parking spaces are required for the use, and parking is available on site. The applicant is proposing no outdoor storage of vehicles. The city will obviously monitor that site to ensure we do not see any storage, and if we do so, then we will contact the property owner at that time and make sure proper screening requirements are in place. It is currently just this portion of the property that is being used. The owner does also own this vacant piece beside, or at the rear, that also fronts James Street, but that is not part of the proposal. Due to the existing site conditions of existing paved surface areas, the applicant is requesting a variance of the city's landscape requirements. City water and sewer are available to serve the property, and the subject area is not located within a flood hazard area. This site is also located within our historic district overlay, and so any exterior improvements to the property, which also includes signage, would have to comply with our historic district guidelines before a building permit can be issued. So again, the modifications are the modification of the side yard setback from 15 to 0, modification of the rear yard setback from 20 feet to 0 feet, and these 2 setbacks are pertaining to the building, and then modification of the city's landscape ordinance. At the public hearing held on January the 19th, no one appeared to speak for or against this request, and the Planning Commission at their meeting held on January the 25th recommended approval for the operation of the repair, service, and inspection facility within the Central Business District with no outdoor storage of vehicles, and with the requested modifications. It is recommended by motion, accept the recommendation of the Planning Commission and adopt an order approving the conditional use permit with the requested modifications. Any questions for staff?
Jennifer, the only question I have is, and I'm all for it, but I want to be sure that doesn't turn into what we've got down on Ash Street, with Ash Street, all of them.
I understand, and we are actively pursuing those uses citywide with regards to being compliant with the city's code.
'Cause it's just not, it's a
It's a
blight.
revolving door.
Yeah,
You will get on them, and then we've got to stay on them. It's one of those things, it's a revolving door. We get them to clean up, they comply, you give them 3 or 4 months, and they're right back. So we're constantly working to try to keep them under control and in compliance with the city's ordinances.
So this person knows going in there,
We have stated all the regulations and requirements that are associated with these types of facilities, yes, sir.
yeah, we can't control that East Ash Street. It's terrible when you ride by there. It's
Where is this? I'm trying to, on Ash.
At the corner of East Ash Street and Slocum, you go down the hill there and,
Okay, yeah.
You know
You're talking
where-
about, Ash Street Automotive?
yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
We have several, there's about a handful that we are constantly working with to try to keep them in compliance with the ordinance.
I mean, I agree with you. You clean it up and then,
And as I said, they'll clean it up, they'll comply, and then they slowly start migrating back to the way they were, and then we're right back on top of them.
Nope.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Is that it?
Sir, so now I'd ask for a closed session.
Do what now?
Closed session for economic development, personnel, and litigation.
Yeah, you go ahead and do that now.
Yes, sir.
Well, I want to make a motion to go into closed session.
Motion to go into closed session
For,
for economic and personnel matters.
second.
And litigation.
any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed likewise. All right, we're in closed session.